What is going on, community? It is TJ, aka Flash by Night, and we are back here keeping up with the comics. And today we are keeping up with two number ones that lay the groundwork for what could be two great stories. So go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, because today we are keeping up with Knighted number one from AWA Upshot. Now, this is a basic setup story for about a guy named Bob who is. Oh, I almost dropped my book. This is Bob. Bob is a regular guy. I think he's a data analyst or a programmer or something like that at this precinct where his girlfriend's father hooked him up with a job. And so it sounds kind of cool, but he's underappreciated everywhere. He's underappreciated at work. He's probably underappreciated by the girlfriend's father. He's underappreciated by the girlfriend because Bob is just a regular person. He's not outstanding. He doesn't go above and beyond for in any point in his life. So much so that the girlfriend doesn't take his proposal for marriage. Bob's just having a bad day. And what makes Bob's day worse, of course, after also getting robbed, is that Bob accidentally kills this character named the Knight. Now, the Knight is kind of maybe a cockier version of Batman in this universe, and you hate to really use Batman all the time for these kind of things, but he is kind of a cockier version of Batman in this universe. And Bob accidentally kills him and ends up in the, is it the Night Cave or whatever? I guess you would call it the Night Cave. And he meets Ash, who is kind of Bob's Alfred, and they hit it off much differently than you would think they would. But that's kind of the whole setup. We meet a potential villain, but they don't do too much with him. But it's all around Bob. It kind of centers around Bob's bad day and Bob's bad life, which just either took a turn for the better or took a turn for the worse. It depends on how Bob takes this whole reassignment thing going on, as he has been chosen to be the next Knight, like it or not. And that was kind of my thoughts on Knighted issue number one. As I said, it was a setup for what could be a good story, may not be a good story. I'm gonna check out issue number two and see where it goes, see how Bob kind of reacts and acclimates to this new assignment that he has, and we'll see where it goes. And speaking of Knights, which I certainly was, Dark Knights of Steel, issue number 1 of 12 from DC, Tom Taylor book. You know the name, you know the game, so we're gonna check this out. Issue number 1 was a pretty interesting look at this, what they call high fantasy, which I had no idea what high fantasy was, but this high fantasy kind of medieval times look at the start of this DC universe. And it starts out kind of the same as most of these Superman origin stories start out, with Krypton coming to an end and Jor-El kind of seeing it coming, except when we get here, it is not only Clark Kent or Kal-El, as we would put it, because with medieval times, I assume we're not going to get a Kent family, but not only does Kal-El come, but his parents also come here with him to Earth from a dying Krypton. But we are in the medieval times, and so there is a I'm going to say a black king who kind of knows that this is happening by ways I will not tell you how it's happening, because I thought it was a pretty cool use of the character they used. But he is none too thrilled, and we don't get a whole lot about him in this first issue, but just know that this black king is kind of in the background, and he is none too happy about this family coming to Earth and coming to his kingdom, because he knows that something crazy is happening. And crazy does happen, because by the time Cal is born and grows up, there's a literal house of El in this kingdom, and their number one protector, their knight, of course, is Batman. And so we find out a lot about him, about Cal, about their relationship, how he feels about Cal. The world we're living in looks kind of happy, kind of perfect, but you kind of know it's not. They slowly but surely let you know that maybe the kingdom that's being run, because we assume that Superman and his parents are running a kingdom. We assume that all is good, all is well, but all is not good, all is not well. At certain times you see Cal kind of sticking up and pressing against what's going on in the kingdom. At times you see Bruce going out and doing kind of the bidding of the kingdom, kind of going and getting at least one prisoner, and keeping prisoners isn't sitting well with Cal. It's also interesting in who the prisoner is, and then who shows up later to attack the family. But there is an attack on the family later on. Really interesting attack. Really interesting revelations. I tell you what. There's not 7 secrets in this book, but there are at least 2 or 3, and Tom Taylor knows what he is doing. So, Dark Knights of Steel, issue number 1 of 12, was pretty good. I think one of the secrets that we find out, some people are going to say why, and that's a fair question. And I'm hoping that Tom Taylor is going to answer that why in the near future, and it's going to be a great answer. So we're going to keep on riding with Dark Knights of Steel. See what it's got to offer. See if any more surprises are sitting out there, and see how the family dynamic shakes out. And that was Keeping Up with Comics. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you saw something you liked. If you did enjoy yourself, go ahead, hit that like button. And if you want to keep up with me, keeping up with the comics, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Always feel free to leave comments. I try to reply to all of them. I love talking with the community members, and I love the engagement. So the comment section is always open. But as we always do at this time, love yourself, love others, and I will be back in a flash.